Hey, my name is Wasim Addis, and I'm here to talk about a huge change in the transportation industry. The way people will be getting from point A to point B is going to be revolutionized, and the company that's making this change happen is Uber. If you're not sure who Uber is, they're a $62.5 billion company founded back in 2009 by two men, the current CEO, Ryan Kalnick, and Ryan Graves. And over the years, Uber has had its fair share of competitors, like pre-existing taxi services and Lyft. This company has allowed independent workers to get out in the field in the transportation industry in an affordable way, using their vehicles and mobile Uber app. This $62.5 billion company has been invested in multiple times by different companies such as Google Ventures and Baidu, which is a search engine in China. Now, with the investments and success over the years that Uber has obtained, they're pursuing the concept of self-driving cars. You've probably already seen this in Tesla cars that's currently being produced and heard about over the past couple of years. Uber's first prototype was spotted back in 2016 in May in Pittsburgh. Now, according to the internet, this vehicle was a Ford Fusion hybrid, and it was equipped with radars, lasers, scanners with high-resolution cameras. Of course, the concept of self-driving cars is still new and has its pros and cons, such as trust, safety, and social responsibility. And I'll let Sean talk a little bit more about that in detail.
Hi, thanks Wasim for the intro. My name is Sean Pollitt, and I'm going to be covering the ethical issues part of social responsibility. So to get us started, I want us to talk about a topic called trend setting. Trend setting is the idea of a pioneer moving into new territory and eventually having a bunch of other people follow him because he discovered something new. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Uber's self-driving car fleet. They are coming into a new industry where a commerce entity is going to use self-driving cars to make money and turn a profit and provide a service for people moving from point A to point B. Now, I call them pioneers because no other entity has done this except for Tesla and their Model S and their self-driving car. Now, this is what's going to cause a snowball effect because as businesses see how successful Uber is, they're going to follow in their tracks. Just like how the computer was only meant for businesses until Steve Jobs and Bill Gates with Microsoft and Apple moved into personal home computing, they were not thought of as something that consumers would want to use. So now computers are ubiquitous everywhere, just like self-driving cars will be after Uber starts pushing them in their fleet. This also raises other ethical questions, which brings us to the topic of managerial ethics, which by the book defines it as the standard behavior that guides individual managers in their work. And the example they use is living wage and how they want to support their employees. Well, the ethics comes into getting rid of all the employees, because if you have a fleet of self-driving cars, you no longer need human labor. And this extrapolates because Uber only employs 1,600 people, and well, that might not seem a lot because America employs 3 million people in the transportation agency. This will then lead to a snowball effect that might affect other industries implementing self-driving cars and of the sort, and leading to mass unemployment. And this is a huge ethical question that Uber's managers are going to have to take into account when addressing this issue. And now I'll push to Manisha for the rest of social responsibility. Thanks.
Another management-related issue that demands exploration is Uber's social responsibility. Uber's self-driving mission, much like Google's, is to reduce the number of traffic fatalities that occur, largely caused by human error. Uber is one of a handful of companies, including Google, Lyft, Volvo, and Ford, that has joined the Self-Driving Coalition for Safer Streets, an organization that lobbies the government to rapidly draft legislation for autonomous vehicle penetration, while keeping safety as the top goal in this. Social responsibility is defined as the set of obligations that an organization has to protect and enhance the societal context in which it functions. This brings up a very important question. If the company, in this case Uber, has the ability to provide self-driving cars with much higher safety benefits, are they socially and morally obligated to do so? Through a combination of multiple cameras, lasers, and sensors, Uber's self-driving cars can see as far as 100 meters in any direction. Thus far, according to Uber, none of their self-driving cars have been associated with any crashes. Passengers will always be able to take control of the vehicle in the event of an emergency, increasing consumer safety even further. Concerns associated with drunk driving, tired driving, and texting and driving could all be obliterated with just the advent of this technology that Uber plans to bring forth, potentially in the next 3 to 4 years. Along with the safety benefits that could come with Uber's self-driving cars, Uber may also have a social responsibility to bring cheaper rides to its consumers and make its mission accessible to everyone. When the labor cost is removed from Uber's business plan, the cost of taking an Uber essentially becomes cheaper than owning a car. This could make transportation very accessible to everyone, not just upper-class people. If self-driving cars are successfully implemented by Uber, the company has the potential to exercise severe social responsibility and help in terms of safety benefits and accessible transportation.
Hi, I'm Manal Patel, and I am going to be talking about the reasons Uber's self-driving car will succeed and maybe some factors that might lead to its failure. Beginning with the successes, Uber, first of all, is a very well-recognized brand. They, only being 5 years old, have really made a great presence in the transportation industry. In addition, they have teamed up with Carnegie Mellon's Robotic Engineering Center for the research and development to help succeed in bringing autonomous driving nationwide. Uber's vision overall with the self-driving car is that this new technology will mean less congestion, more affordable and accessible way of transportation, and overall fewer lives lost in car wrecks. And this comes from the Highway and Traffic and Safety Administration that reports that 94% of car wrecks are caused by human error. So hopefully with the autonomous driving, this could overall make, save lives and make transportation more efficient. With this issue of safety, this also brings up a factor that might lead to a failure that Uber has to keep in mind, and that is that people are pretty skeptical of, like, can you trust a computer to get you safely from point A to point B? Like, can it be hacked? What if, like, there's a glitch in the system? And this was proven with Tesla recently releasing that they lost a driver due to a glitch in the system during an autopilot drive. The driver nor the automobile was able to recognize a trailer next to it, thus the brakes were not applied. And the CEO tweeted that the vehicle's radar didn't help in this case because it tunes out what looks like an overhead road sign to avoid false braking. So issues like this is something that Uber is going to have to kind of keep in mind and make sure that the product they're giving out is safe. In addition, the competition, as I mentioned, Tesla, Google is another very large competition. They've been in the game about autonomous driving since 2009, and they have over 1 million miles logged under their belt. And so Uber being young, they have kind of more, they don't have as much wiggle room as Tesla and Google does with this project, and so they're going to have to keep everything pretty secure as they move forward. Lastly, Uber employs millions of people all around the world, and so with the self-driving car replaces drivers, could lead to a pretty big economic devastation, and that's one pretty big factor that Uber is going to have to keep in mind as they move forward with their self-driving car.
Hello, my name is Jack Renoni. As you already know, Uber is planning to revolutionize the transportation industry by implementing an autonomous taxi service. Self-driving has been a foreseeable concept in the last decade and is now finally coming to fruition. Uber's goal is to provide the public with a safe yet efficient taxi service at a minimal cost. As mentioned earlier, there are some concerns regarding the business model on how to achieve this. These matters, which include ethical issues and social responsibilities, will ultimately be the decisive factors in whether or not Uber's business plan will succeed. With the concerns over distracted and inebriated driving at a peak level, there is no question that the way we drive will change. Since humans were responsible for 94% of crashes in 2014, an autonomous vehicle would seem like the best solution for this. But with the concept of a self-driving taxi, there will always be the question, how safe will I be? Or, can I really trust my life to a computer? And although it has already been proven that autonomous cars drive much safer than humans, there will always be skepticism. And if for some reason the car fails to recognize danger and causes an accident, Uber would be fully responsible to provide compensation and the company's reputation would be permanently damaged. In all, self-driving seems like the perfect way to get from point A to point B. It is a risky endeavor for any company to take on. With Uber's dominance in the taxi industry and their technological resources, it is capable of accomplishing this task. As of now, it is too early to tell how successful Uber will be with this plan, given their fierce competitors and the current public perception of self-driving cars. I believe that with an idea like this, there is no easy way to predict Uber's success and that only time will tell. Thank you.